It's wild.
Really?
Yeah, it's super wild. I don't know when we're gonna ever be
Okay.
home.
We're live.
Purple room?
Purple room?
Have you seen the pictures of the purple room?
Royalty? I don't think so.
The one with the really wild lighting and stuff?
No, I don't think so. We haven't been back in since Mel showed us, right?
Oh, okay.
So it's been a little bit.
Yeah, I'll probably have all that stuff ready hopefully this week. And if I have it ready this week, then we'll film you. I have a double angle that's kind of cool up there. That's where I figure I'll film you from.
Okay.
Okay, so we're live on.
Yes.
Okay. Welcome, folks.
Welcome. You're here.
Okay. Let me just check audio.
Come
really
on,
quick,
come on.
guys.
Yeah.
To the podcast, y'all.
Yeah. They can see how we do setup.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Give me a check 1 2.
Check 1 2 1 2. Check 1 2.
Sounds good.
Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check 1 2.
Both of you comfortable?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm rolling on audio, rolling on camera 1, rolling on camera 2, rolling on camera 3. You guys need anything?
Oh, no.
Okay. All right, audience. Here we go. Coupley Fit.
Hey, Coupley Fit fam. Welcome back to another episode. We are so excited today. I know most of the time you've been hearing us talk about how we get through disagreements, but what do we actually disagree on? And how have we got past through it? And how do we just keep going?
This is gonna be a great episode, and I feel like people always want to know, like, y'all always look so happy. Like, when y'all do argue,
Yeah.
what is it about?
What is it about? Before we dive in, we want to make sure that you like and subscribe if you're watching us on YouTube. If you are on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please subscribe. And then follow us on Instagram at CoupleyFit, CoupleyFit. Let's get into it. All right, so what we argue about and what we've learned. So we've had a couple of disagreements, especially when we first started dating. And if we really take it back, that's honestly where we learned the most, though.
For sure, I have one scenario that immediately popped into my head.
What?
Oh my gosh, this takes me back to our club days.
Okay.
We're out at a club. We're in Scottsdale. I remember being.
Were we engaged at the time, or we weren't engaged?
We might not have been engaged. I'm not sure. We could have been.
We could have been engaged.
I don't know. It's for those listening, we're coming up on. Is it 9 years?
Yes.
9
Yes.
years.
We
So,
first met in the club.
yeah, so we met in the club, but we were dating. We weren't married yet.
Yeah.
It's pre-marriage.
Right.
But we're out in the club.
Yes.
We're together. We're having a good time. And I think somebody I knew, and this is more of like an associate, somebody I knew,
Right.
not like a friend or something like that.
Right.
But was coming up and saying something to you in the club or something like that.
Yeah.
And ultimately, the disagreement wasn't even really that was one of my big takeaways.
Because they were like trying to get my attention.
Correct. So they're trying to get your attention, tapping you, all of the extras, and you specifically did not say anything to me because you knew, like, I'm not going to tell you this because I already know how you're going to react
Yeah.
if I tell you in here in a moment.
And one of your friends saw, and I remember the look on his face. He said, like, are you gonna say anything? And I remember saying specifically to him, do not tell her. Don't tell him, at least in this environment.
Correct.
Yes.
So there we go. So you said that right there, the do not tell Kurt.
In this environment.
Correct. So I think that's the key piece was in this environment, because you're right. In that environment, that would not have been the best situation. It could have been chaotic, but to say the least. But when I go back to the
I know you better than you know yourself.
But when I go back to that moment, I remember being so upset because I felt like I couldn't address the situation in the situation in the moment. But what it really was a takeaway for me was two things can be true. Right? You were right in how you handled it, and I was right to be upset, but I was upset at the wrong person.
Correct.
I was upset at you for not telling me in the moment so I can handle it, but you're already
You almost
realizing.
felt like a little bit. Did you feel like?
No, I feel like somebody was trying me. Just to be honest. And for those that are listening, somebody knows when you feel tried.
Try me if you want to.
Come on. Try Jesus, not me. Not me. But just so that's how I felt, was like, wait, what just happened? And like I didn't know about it. So
yeah.
you know, and just naturally like that protector, and you also feels like, wait, what happened? And in there, and like, you know, so that was definitely a triggering moment, but that was one of the commonality in that situation and in a lot of our arguments was that it wasn't always like a me and you thing. A lot of times it was an outside factor. It was something else, it was somebody else. It was like, you know what I mean? It was a situation, not necessarily that like we were having a disagreement.
Right.
Which I thought is an interesting call out. I don't know if anybody else that's listening can resonate with that, but like sometimes it's identifying what's the root cause of why we're upset, what's the root cause of why we're disagreeing or why we're maybe arguing.
Yes, and so just a little bit of my version of this. So first off, we were dating enough that it was not only serious, but we were either engaged and like newly engaged, or we were about to. And so there were a couple of things that came from this situation. Number one, where you were in your journey of self-growth.
It was different.
You were a different person back then. It was giving a lot of Detroit.
My fuse might have been a little bit shorter back then.
A lot of Detroit, and so I already knew, but we have to really take it a step further too, because this person, you already had an altercation, and I don't know if that's really the right word. It could have turned into an altercation, because of some things that have transpired maybe even a few months before that. So when this happened, and it was the same person.
This is a part two. That is a good call out.
I know.
This was a second
And
incident.
I saw your reaction to the first time, and I said,
the first,
I said, wait a minute.
the first incident.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. You know, so so I already knew what your reaction was during, and that was just a pair of sneakers. So if we're talking about
I just want to say for those listening, there's somebody listening right now that comes from the era or just believes in the same thing. Sometimes it's about the principle.
I'm 100% behind that.
Right.
I believe in that as well.
And where God had to work on me.
And that's what I'm saying. God needed to work on you, and I knew that.
He had to work on me. I needed more grace.
Yes.
I needed a little bit more. I needed at the time more empathy, a little bit more compassion.
Yes.
A little bit more, let it go.
Yes.
But the time
roll off your back.
Exactly.
Yes.
At the time I was not letting it roll.
Oh no. And then I believe even before the incident happened in the club, I don't know if you saw him before, but I remember you saying something to me like, yo, so-and-so's in the club, and you know, I said, oh boy. So it already, there was that, then the fact that he was, you know, trying to get my attention in those things, and
and somebody trying to get your ladies' attention behind your back. Come on, man. That's what really
happens a lot.
That
happens a lot.
That's what really got me upset. It was just like you're waiting until I turn my back, or you're waiting until you know I'm not looking to try to get your attention. But again, I appreciate you knowing your personnel.
Oh,
Because there are some partners or some wives out there that are like, oh, I want to
set it off.
I want to see.
Set it off.
To be honest, and you see it on TV a lot, right? Or reality TV, it's like I want to see if my partner's going to protect me.
Yes.
Like, you know, you see the right now. You see the viral things of like people are trying to see what like their pet will do. Like, what does my dog do if someone's coming in? It's like a break-in, and sometimes the dog runs. But like, people want to see that with their partner. Like, ooh, is he going to defend me? So hopefully, and I appreciate that you did not want to see how does this play out. But it was just one of those things where I was so frustrated in the moment, upset that like this was happening behind my back in the club of like, but again, you were being mindful of the scenario, the environment, right? And it's also a good lesson too of just like why we don't go to the club. Like I can't tell the last time we've been in the club.
And that was the thing is we realized after that, and then I think there was one more thing that happened in the club too, that we were like, okay, first off, we're too serious, and by the past couple of times we were at the club, we were engaged. So it was just like, why are we in here? For what? To be hanging out with our friends that we can hang out with at game night outside of this? We don't need to be in the club anymore. So that was a disagreement that we did have, but the resolution was, well, we're just not gonna put ourselves in that situation anymore.
Correct. And for a lot of people, I would say that might be easier said than done. I know for us, it wasn't a hard like pivot or adjustment. And I feel like for somebody, it might be that phase element of like, 'cause some people still feel like I'm really, you know, we see it all the time. People are like, I'm really trying to be out there. Like I want to still
I'm trying to be outside.
I want to be in the action.
But that's the thing is, you can be, the action just looks different, right? It's, let's hang out, at a pool, right? And let's.
Karaoke night, it's
like,
just different vibes.
It's different, and it's especially different too if you are, a married couple going into that type of vibe, because, or even engaged, it's a little worldly in there. You have to be mindful of like, what are we doing at the club? What's the point of the club? Yes, music, dance, right, those things, but then also, what are people doing in the club? You're trying to find, you're scouting, right? Who can I find?
People in there choosing, and people in there getting chose.
Okay, yes, sir. So, that was definitely one disagreement. That was one of our biggest ones. Another one was, it was early on, but remember it was over social media, and it was over Snapchat specifically. Cause Snapchat, that whole song with the Snapchat me, So that was another just disagreement of like, we had to learn, okay, what's appropriate on social media for us being a couple engaged and then ultimately married, like what's appropriate, and then also how are we gonna go about being honest but transparent with what is going on social media as well. And so that was another disagreement we had, and it was over Snapchat specifically because we both just had incidents where it was just like, this is random and weird and I don't even know how this happened.
And for those that don't like have a shared account with your partner or don't run a business, but those that do, right, like you do have to filter through just like spam and emails, right? It's like you just have to like, wait a minute, what, like what is going on here? But it's having that grace and understanding of like, okay, what are the guardrails or the things to be able to prepare you for like, things that maybe you don't expect.
Right, and so that allowed us, after that disagreement with social media, we said, okay, like we need to talk to each other and figure out what do you feel is appropriate that I can do, and then what do I feel like is appropriate for you, right? And something that we saw was, we saw a couple of husband-wife teams where the husband's liking all of these women's photos and it's their positions and not that much clothing and all of these things, and it's like, dang, that makes your wife look a little, that doesn't look good.
Well, I'll tell you what, it goes both ways, right?
If
your wife is liking all the Magic Mike, and this is not my situation, but they liking all the Magic Mike posts and all of the stuff.
You're right.
What in the Chippendales is going on in here? So like, no, but that's a good call out of like how y'all operate when it comes to that, right? Are you liking those types of things? Are we being mindful of that on social media? Because it's
they're commenting hard eyes under women's photos or men's photos. Like, what?
I mean, it is
that's not disrespectful.
It's disrespectful.
It's disrespectful.
Yeah, we never had those arguments, but there are people that are dealing with that in a social media era where some people feel like, oh, it's just social media, but it's like,
No. With the way that, there's a whole song going down in the DMs, like so we have to not, the social media has turned into a meeting hub, a hookup hub, like whatever you want to call it. That's what social media has turned into in some ways. But just quickly going back, I know even something for us on the DM side, we would show each other DMs like, yo, look at what this person said or is doing or whatever, right? And at least just being transparent in that sense of, hey, this is a random DM, don't even know who this person is, or I do know who this person is, let me just show you so you know what's going on, because you don't want to ever be put into a situation where you're caught off guard, or you're now out in the club, right? And it's like, hold on, y'all have there's some chemistry going on here, what's going on? Meanwhile, it's been going down the DMs the whole time, and you don't even know. So you don't want to ever be caught flat-footed or just, you made to look foolish, right?
No, it's facts. I mean, but socially, the game has changed so much, and I'm glad that we were not totally pre-social media era, but like people now don't even exchange their phone numbers.
No,
it's like, hey,
let me get your handle.
Give me your handle. I would have been so offended if when I met you, you would have been like, here's my handle. I would have been offended, like, what? Like, you have a handle, but you also have a phone number. Like,
and it's so funny you say that, because I was talking to my little sister who, she's in the Big Brothers Big Sisters program, and she's 14, and we were talking about that. I said, back in my day, right? Back in my day, I said you had to give out your phone number because there was like IG and those, IG, Snapchat, those were just coming out or were relatively new. And so it wasn't like, oh, drop your handle. She said, I couldn't even imagine that. Now you have access to me, you have my phone number? Oh my gosh, no way. And I just laughed at it. I thought it was so funny.
Well, we got to take it back one step further for her. But when we really were like in high school, middle school, high school, you wouldn't exchange phone with somebody, you're giving them the house phone number.
You are?
Like, actually, can you, hello?
Or MySpace.
Is DeAnna there?
MySpace.
Listen, is DeAnna there? Can I talk to her?
And the crazy part is people do not call my house.
Don't call.
No call.
I wasn't really on, I was a late MySpace boomer. I wasn't really on the MySpace like that.
I was late to most of it, just because again, I need to peep and see what's going on. I don't really.
Yeah, I feel like I was
happening?
so focused. I was trying to play sports and stuff. Like, people had the music, the updates.
Yes.
I went in and tried to like look at the music.
The glittery
my profile,
backgrounds were lit.
Top 8. I was like,
Your
man.
top 8, the music. Oh yeah.
I was like, I didn't really have. I feel like fantasy football now. Like, I don't know if I got the bandwidth for it. You know, somebody got to pre-populate this.
Yes. And then some other disagreements that we had.
Food.
Food.
Yeah, I mean.
What do you mean?
You're gluten free. I mean, sometimes,
Oh.
and I don't even want to call it like necessarily a dis-
Yeah, I wouldn't say they're disagreements. It's just we have to figure out where we can both eat. However it changed for you because when we first met, I either just found out I was gluten free or it was really in that realm. Because I remember I was in denial for 2 years. I was like, I can eat this in and out. What do you mean? I don't need to take the bun off. And then it's like, honey, take the bun off.
Right, but also, you know, and sometimes it's not even necessarily like an argument, but sometimes it's something you got to just work through, right? Because you're like, man, what are we gonna eat? And sometimes it's easier, like, okay, you want pizza? I want pizza bed. Let's get pizza. Or like, oh, you want a sandwich? Do they have gluten-free bread?
Yeah.
Do they have gluten-free crust?
Yes.
Is it gluten friendly?
Yes.
Are they using gloves to change? These are questions I didn't even know what all was in gluten, and I'm like, oh man, we can't eat there. Oh, it's separate delivery fees to go to 2 separate places.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like that question of what do you want to eat? And then I feel just, you know, there's some guilt in there of like, well, I can eat anything. Like, I can just go right up the way and grab something, and you're like, oh, you can have that.
That's great.
That's great. That's nice. You can eat.
I'm still hungry.
Exactly. So it may not be a argument, but it is an underlying, you know, for all the fellas out there, if your wife is going hungry, just know, you've got to feed her. Quick.
Feed me.
Quick.
Because I'm hangry. Woo!
Halt. Are you hungry, angry,
lonely, or tired? Yes. I would say another disagreement too that we had was a little bit around house chores, I guess. Early on. I'm talking early on, you know, we had our house at the time. You know, it's taking me half a day just to clean this entire house and do the dishes. I'm meal prepping, I'm doing everything, and you're over there just playing Madden. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Are you gonna help? No? Okay. But also, that wasn't your conditioning exposure. You didn't see that. So therefore, you wouldn't just get up to help. But now, it's a very different story. Like, even before you came, you helped me unload the dishwasher. You loaded the dishwasher today. You know, and just helping with laundry, right? Those things, putting it in the washing machine, the dryer, all fold. But it definitely was not like that in the beginning, for sure.
This is what marriage looks like. All the things, domesticated. But I feel like it does make a difference. I feel like it's been an evolving.
Is it domesticated or is it just teamwork? Like,
So
we both live in this house. That's crazy.
it's
that you don't want to contribute. You only want to contribute the ways you want to contribute, but the household has to rest.
So I agree. I will say it was an evolving in a good way, right? 'Cause I think,
Of course.
without a doubt, early on, that was, like you said, conditioning and exposure. So
It was 100%. But also mine too.
Like, folding no clothes, doing no laundry, not really like, no.
No.
So it just that was the norm.
Yes.
But to then look at it from the aspect of there's not something that's stopping me from being able to help with those things, and again, throwing something on TV, watching a show or YouTube or whatever, before you know it, it's like, man, those dishes, those clothes, that whatever that might have been something that could have been a barrier is done.
Mm-hmm.
But also seeing just the weight that takes off, and learning more about the 5 love languages and the acts of service, and kind of connecting the dots, because knowledge is power, right? And so when a husband is listening, it's like, well, 5 love languages, my wife says acts of service, like, what does that mean? Well, man, it could be dumping the garbage, unloading the
Emphasis
dishwasher.
on act.
Sir, emphasis
Do
on
something.
emphasis on service.
Action.
Emphasis on service, right? But it's like how
It's a verb.
right?
Like,
It's
come on.
action word. How can you really help and take some of the load off? And then, you know, like you said, thinking of it from, you know, you mentioned playing Madden, but from a team approach, right? You don't want to feel like you're the offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator. You're washing and drying
Right.
when it comes to the dishes, unfolding and doing the laundry, right? So it's like, okay, how do we tag team and do
Yes.
it together? Or if you have a family, how do we get everybody involved?
Yes.
We seen some kids folding and doing some chores, and I was
I know.
2, 3 years old. I was
Montessori
impressed.
way.
I said, whoa,
I can't wait.
they're gonna be hands-on in there,
Hands-on.
folding, washing,
You cooking, you cleaning, you doing all the things.
cutting a little avocado,
Yeah.
little apple.
I too. Come on now. What? So yeah, so that was something that we did have to learn, but even to what you were saying about conditioning exposure on your end from a male side, my conditioning exposure from a female side, that's what I saw my mom do. She's working full time, she's coming home, she's taking care of us, taking me, you know, taking us to volleyball, taking my brother to football, doing the dishes, doing the laundry, doing everything. And so I can do everything, right? I can be superwoman. But then you realize it's like, well, just because I can be it doesn't mean that I need to do it.
Yeah.
So therefore, can you help me? And I think a lot of it too was I vocalized to you and I said, hey, I need help. I mean, I can do it, but I don't want to be stressed all the time and I don't want to be this tired all the time because of things that we can split down the middle. That was number one. And then number two was you saw how hard I was working. You saw like, oh, it's looking real clean in here. It smells like Lifestyle. It smells like, you know, you really you put some elbow grease into it. It's like, yeah, but that was half my day. It's 4 or 5 hours just to clean this house. Like, what could I have done about that 4 to 5 hours? And so I just appreciate you being receptive to me vocalizing and then again, action, taking action on that too.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then also,
But it takes time.
that's what I was gonna say. It
It
takes time.
takes time.
And we now have days and things that we plan out where it's like, hey, these are 4 hours on Saturday that we're gonna clean. And we got the music going and we're literally,
Yes.
you're turning it into an activity
Yes.
together. And
Yeah.
then you can reward yourself. Hey, we're gonna go out after this. Hey, we're gonna go and grab a bite, do a date night or whatever after this, and factoring that in, which I think is a game changer. A lot of times it ends up being a situation where you feel like, man, if I'm gonna help out on these dishes or on these chores or whatever, man, we're throwing the Madden out, and we're not, no, like, you can still get a game, man, still enjoy whatever,
Yeah, it's
but
compromise.
it's just balance,
Yeah.
right? It's compromise, it's balance,
Yeah.
and realizing that there can be space for both, but it's like anything, right? It's like work. We get the must-dos done so that we can do the want-to-dos or the things that are on our like wish list after that.
Mhm. And then I think disagreements a little bit more in the present. For us, it's mostly just we're on the same page typically about everything, which is a blessing because that doesn't happen for a lot of people. We're typically on the same page, but sometimes we might have a different viewpoint or a way of doing it. And then it's just a little bit of like trying to figure out, okay, what's your way of doing it? This is what I'm thinking. How can we meet in the middle? Or if there is a miscommunication, which can happen sometimes, it's, okay, well, what did you hear? Or what were your thoughts? And then I'll tell you what I meant, or where I can maybe clarify in the future so that it's not something that turns into a disagreement.
Yeah, no, it's a constant evolving in the communication cycle, right? Of like, how do we continue to talk about these different elements? How can I support you? I feel like we've done a great job of continuing to ask the questions of like, all right, how can I help you? Like, how are things going? What are some of the, again, roses and thorns? But if a thorn is like, man, these chores, these dishes, these these things, they just keep piling up.
Yeah, seriously.
That's a sign.
Especially dishes.
That's what I'm saying. Like, no, but for real, like the dishes, that's a sign. And I know I love home cooked meals, but it's like gotta have some balance.
Sheesh.
Well, if you love the home cooked meals, we gotta go ahead and knock down on some of these pots and pans.
You know what I'm saying?
Boy,
I just meal prep for the entire week. We're talking breakfast, lunch, and dinner
3 squares.
for 5 days, and you can't help me with these dishes? You're bugging. No.
So it's key. It's key. So
No.
I think it's a fair ask and request,
Yes.
and I think that's the balance that has to be found.
Yes. So now we talked a little bit of some disagreements that we've had. What are some tools or tips that you would have for our viewers or listeners about ways to deal with disagreements?
Yeah, I would say the first thing is your method of communication. So one of the things for us, like we talked about in the past, but the tone can be a big one. So like when you get, you know, tempers getting a little high, or you know, people getting a little we'll call it passionate about whatever the topic is. Your voices get to elevate, right? And naturally,
body language is shifting.
Let me match your tone. now we're having a match off of
right.
who's gonna get louder, who's gonna get the last word, and it's like, all right.
That's not what this is about.
That's not what this is about. This isn't productive. Let's go ahead and pause here. Maybe it's you know, we need to both take 5, separate, take 5, separate rooms or separate, you know, whatever. And I don't, when I say separate rooms, I like the idea of separate rooms, but in the same house. Because I think something that can happen in a lot of situations is the idea to run. Which even for me, like that was a, you know, that's the idea of like, you know, and even if it is, I'm gonna go to the gym, right? Like sometimes that's not necessarily a bad thing, but like the idea of like, I'm gonna get in the car, I'm gonna leave, can have a negative connotation. It's like, where are you going? When you're coming back, are you coming back?
Yes.
Like that can get a little bit worrisome for a partner. So I think being in the same house where it's like, hey, I know you're still here. I know we're still working through this despite whatever it may be. But now either we're coming back once things have cooled off, or maybe one of the things that was a game changer for us was the text is so like, one, writing it out, because you're writing it out and you're like, ooh, if I was gonna say this.
How would this be received?
This would have landed like a right jab. Like this text was not good. Let me go ahead and unwind this text.
And if you're trying to hurt somebody.
Correct, and that was a good one. Sometimes reading the text is like, ooh, I was going for the jugular. Or like, you know what, that was like, really, that could have been hurtful. You know what, that could have been received not how I wanted. Or actually, that would have pushed us, and sometimes it's always good too to look at like, would that have pushed us closer together or further apart? And even if you know, if you're using the resources like Grammarly or one of the text apps, you ask like, how does this text sound? If it says disapproving, negative, insensitive, angry, you know what? I need to revise. I need to change some of my words in here. But it's really then looking like, all right, the end result is that we resolve whatever it is we're talking about, or that we at least find some common ground. And a lot of times it's a matter of, let me swallow my pride, let me get past maybe how I felt about it. Is this that big of an issue? Like, is this a 6 minutes? Is this a 6 minute, 6 hour, 6 day, or like 6 week, or like basically breaking it out into increments of like, how big of an issue is this? Is this 6 hours, or is this 6 days, or is this like a 6 year, like, is something life changing just right? And a lot of times it falls under the 6 hours, maybe six weeks, right, or 6 days, but not something that's impactful enough to like be relationship changing or to blow it all up, right? Like, no, you need to hold fast, send a text message and just say, how can I support you? You know what, I was wrong, or you know what, let's talk about this and see how we can come to a common ground. And sometimes that is like the starting point to then diffuse the situation.
Yes, I love what you said, because that worked well for us for quite some time. I'm gonna add a couple of things. Number one, when you talked about being in the same house, I know that, I remember one of our disagreements early on, like I think we were maybe only a few months in, you were getting ready to leave. And I remember I walked right in front of the door. I said, I don't know where you think you're going, because you're not leaving. Like but again, that can go into abandonment, right? Where I feel like you're abandoning me and abandoning the situation, you're leaving and I don't know when you're gonna come back. So now I may be packing my stuff up. I may be like, I'm gonna abandon you before you can abandon me, right? So again, that goes back to also looking back at your childhood. We always say that, like every time that you are, whatever your action, your reaction, the way that you think about your childhood and how you were brought up, the people around you, how they reacted, and see where, okay, that was maybe unhealthy to do that, or that wasn't productive, so therefore I'm going to change the way that I act and react. And again, it's nothing we're saying is over, like, oh, we did it one time and we're just completely
it's not magic.
Good. It's not magic. It's not the snap of a finger. Some of this took years to happen. So it's just being mindful of that. So the abandonment piece was one that came to my mind. The next one was the texting. That was something that was very, it was a game changer for us, truthfully, because you don't realize how much is said in that silence. So when you're both in those rooms and you are just taking a minute to just come down from that emotion, because when you are in your emotions and you are reacting from your emotions, you're gonna say something you don't mean, you may be petty, you may have a reaction that it's like, ooh, I wish I could take that back. And it's like, okay, to mitigate that, take some time away. Even if you need more time, text your partner and say, hey, I just need a couple of minutes, but I still love you. Like I still care for you, whatever that is, to let the person know that what this argument or disagreement is not bigger than my love for you. And so being able to come back together after that is a key though, right? Like we would be texting, and then we get to a point where it's like, okay, we can be around each other. I now know.
The vibes have,
exactly, right? It's de-escalated.
Yeah.
So now we can come back to a common ground, the living room, the whatever, and it's like,
little reset.
yes, and then, thank you for saying that. I appreciate you. I realize that this was just a miscommunication, and this is something that I can do better. This is something that you can do better that will help me. And again, that de-escalation's key, because one thing we see over and over in disagreements and arguments, it just keeps escalating and escalating and escalating and escalating. And sometimes it gets to a point where, there is, the action that's being taken is more of throwing something or.
Not in our house.
Not in our house, I'm just saying,
No,
it happens, right? Where, something gets thrown or, unfortunately there's a DV situation. And so again, that de-escalation is so key. I would say another tool for us when it came to disagreements too was really finding out, okay, again, what did you hear? When I said this, what was it that you heard? Because then when I hear it from your viewpoint, it now gives me an opportunity to say, oh, okay, I could see where you misinterpreted that, or where I can do better on explaining or saying something. And so I appreciate you letting me know. Or it's like, if somebody tells you their viewpoint, it's like, well, how could you hear that? I can't believe that you could hear it. It's like, you have to give people that grace. That's what they heard. So you have to figure out what you can do on your end in order for it to be something where it's a productive conversation, and that you are, again, right, seeing her value. I see you and I hear you. I hear your perspective. Thank you for that. This is, how would you like me to maybe say this the next time?
Yeah, and I saw a quote recently that talked about the closer that a couple is to God, the closer that we are to each other.
Oh, amen.
So the enemy is always going to want to come in and kill, steal,
and destroy.
So naturally, in a relationship, the enemy wants you to raise your voice, argue, go your separate ways, leave. Right now, there's more temptation. There's more other things. There's distractions. They want you to jump on and watch the reality TV where it's maybe the housewives and they arguing and cussing each other. Like, they want you to see the chaos and think that's the energy that you need.
Or even that's normal.
Or that's
and that's
normal.
not normal.
It's not normal.
It's not normal. We just become desensitized.
Correct.
To it.
Ray J pushing Princess into the pool is not normal. That should not be what it is.
That is your wife. That's wild.
Or ex-wife, right?
Well,
now. But you get what I'm saying, right? It's like,
but now, right?
That's not where you want to go, and that's becoming so common that just being able to see it through, continue to care about your partner, and know that you're building something together. To me, that's so important, because if you think about what you built and the time you've invested in, the due diligence that you've done in choosing a partner that you've chosen, like, so much.
People have done the due diligence.
Well, that's what I'm saying. What you want.
A lot of situationships turn into.
That's a separate episode. The situation is a separate episode.
Same with like, oh shoot, we're pregnant now.
Well, that was one of the best. I mean, one of the things that I always say when we talk about when it comes to relationships, if either couple hit the lotto tomorrow, unlimited whatever month, like, are you still in a relationship, or is it like, oh, I no longer have to be in this relationship and I'm out of here?
That's right.
So I think thinking about that framework and asking yourself those questions is important too, because again, a lot of people in situationships, and then they're 10, 20, 30, 40 years later, like, what did I do the last few decades?
Yeah, you're absolutely correct, and we've seen some relationships like that. And so I would then go into what we've been talking about. So these are all ways that we can kind of bounce back. I think another great thing that we do too is prayer, and we pray together. That is a big key. Going back to the quote that you just mentioned about being closer to God, it's realizing again that there's something bigger than us, right? Like this is you know, in the Bible, it's the greatest mystery is marriage, right? And two people coming together as one. And so giving the grace and the space for your partner to make the change, right? Like you can't just expect that, okay, I've told you a couple of times and I expect you to make the complete change. No, right? Like it's going to take it can take a couple of years, and that's what we have to remember when we're talking of marriage. I always say this, it's lifelong. It's not something where this is just for a season, I might be with you 10, 15 years and then call it quits. It's no, we're trying to make this, you know, we hear your grandparents have been married 65 years. Forever. So I think when we just, that's the goal, right? And every time you hear, just even now, getting to 10 years is whoa, like that's
people are
a
shocked. People are like, y'all coming up on 9? Like, I remember I was at your wedding.
I know, just milestones, and celebrating those, but just again, being as close to God as possible has been something that's been key, and something we like to do too is share scriptures with each other too. So, you know, the Youth Version Bible app, we'll hear us always talk about that. You can type in whatever word or a phrase that you want to send to your spouse, right? Like about love, about disagreements, about, you know, how to push through and all of those things. And now you can have a scripture that's backed by the Bible that you can send to your spouse. And it's just another reminder of, okay, you want to work on this, and that's another key. The effort and then wanting to work on it. Because we can have these disagreements, and some people are looking for the fights.
Only needed a reason.
I only needed a reason. Peace. So that's just what we are talking about, is that the power of prayer and the power of being close to God.
And I love what you said about the power of prayer and that positive word, because again, are you speaking life into your relationship?
Come on now.
Because if you're speaking life into your relationship in ways that you can do that, right? Life and death is in the power of the tongue. So one of the ways you can do that, like you just mentioned, is sending over that scripture. But also, if you don't have the words to say, and you're in,
and I feel like that happens a lot.
You don't have the words to say. You're maybe getting that tip right now, like, okay, I can go into the separate rooms, but I don't have the words to say. Every time I type it out, it says angry and disapproving. Okay, don't send that. But then maybe it's going to Pinterest or going into ChatGPT or going into Google and saying like, provide me with a positive quote from my wife, or a lovely, uplifting word, or a word of encouragement or forgiveness or whatever.
Yes.
And now save that and send that.
Yes.
So now it's not even, it doesn't have to be your words, but if it's something that you read, a quote, a song, or whatever, and it's like, you know what, this is saying perfectly what I can't say right now, and I just want you to be able to receive it, even if it can't be from me, it might have to be from Joseph.
Oh,
send you over this song or this playlist, because somebody remember them days. Come on now. Had that CD on that one finger.
Yes.
Baby girl, I just want you to hear this real quick.
Let me make you a mixtape.
It's hot off the press. Like, it's got a little mixtape of these songs I want you to hear. But like, it's those vibes, right? Like, sometimes it's going back to the simplest of times of like, I was thinking about you. I just want you to know I care. I love you. This is for me. And that could be the start of the process of the conversation.
Yes, I'm so glad that you said that, because I feel like that is a gap where people are like, hey, I want that growth and I want to do exactly what y'all are talking about, but how?
What's step one?
How do I do this? Another thing that I would say to add to what you just mentioned briefly is, when you have a disagreement, the disagreement is between the two of you. When you start adding in more voices, you start adding in more perspectives.
Facebook.
You start the book.
Don't be going to Facebook.
Okay.
Talking about your wife and your husband.
It is messy, and we've seen it. It's so messy. And it makes you look immature, right? It makes you look emotionally immature, like you don't know how to handle your emotions, and so you're just gonna jump to Facebook or.
Yeah, going to Facebook court is not it.
Like.
Letting your Facebook friends and family be the judge.
You
The
know
comments
what I mean?
is the judge.
And so I think that that's something that we've learned too over time is we have to be the ones that are talking this through. We have to be the ones that are at least trying to effectively communicate, because the more opinions you have, the more that you have people's perspectives. Even if you trust somebody, maybe mention something to them, but at the same time, take it with a grain of salt, right? If you at your core know, like, ooh, no, I feel that feels a little like not the avenue that I want to go. That's not kind of repairing and restoring. That's going more in the destruction side, right? It's again chewing on the meat, spitting out the bones when it comes to somebody that you trust. But I would always say, try to keep it between the two of you.
And if you need to talk to somebody, and
talk to Jesus
or a therapist, because there's nothing wrong with getting a therapist or having therapy, and that being a space where you say, like, man, I've really been struggling with this. I'm having resentment, or I'm dealing with this, or X, Y, and Z, because again, they have professional experience. By law, they're not supposed to go tell your business to everybody at the barbershop or the hair salon, like maybe a friend would do, and you end up feeling like, oh my gosh, I just shared this, and now, you know, we didn't work through it, but now everybody else is looking at us crazy, or whatever the case may be. So I really appreciate the fact that you said that too, because working on it internally, and then for those that, like even for us, because some people are like, well, how do you work on it internally? You guys are on social media, you're giving feedback, X, Y, and Z. Something that I appreciate that you talked about that we learned is addressing or talking about things once you've worked through it. So like, we didn't come on here and talk about the situation in the club 12 years ago or 10 years ago when it happened. We grew beyond it, we repaired it, we got to a point where we could even like joke, like when you're at a point where you can even joke about it or talk about it freely without tempers flaring and rising. That means, I think that's then where you're at a space where you can talk about it, whether that's on a platform like this, or even to friends, like, man, we really had to work through, or let it be valuable to help somebody else, is after you've worked through it together.
We were engaged. And the reason I know, because remember we were in premarital counseling. Yes! Do you remember that?
I think I did bring that up. I brought that up to the pastor.
We both brought it up, because he asked us.
I said, man,
he asked us, what's your latest disagreement? That's what he asked us.
Let me tell you what happened at the club.
And you were around you were hyped up.
And then now that I think back to it, I'm explaining to the pastor about me acting out in the club. And I'm like, you know what? Pastor, I had no business in the club.
No business.
No business.
No business. And you're talking to your pastor about being in the
club. Being in the club. And it was either a Saturday or a Sunday. Typically.
It was a Sunday, I think.
It might have been a Sunday fun day, and that was a problem.
That's the problem.
You wouldn't got a good word.
And if you remember Marley's.
Good word, that went to church, and now you at Sunday fun day, turning up.
This is why we say it was also our BC days before Christ, because you can be in it and like, you know, you're still teetering. But again, we were 22, 23, maybe 24. Well, if we were engaged, that's actually closer to 25.
Yeah, we're still young.
We're still young though.
Early 20s out there active. We're in traffic.
But all of our, you know, that was just
friends, everybody.
Friends, like everyone,
We work all weekend. It's like, what are you doing on the weekend? We are having a good time. Where we at?
Period. I'm trying to be seen. I'm outside.
Which we still having a good time. It just looks a little bit different,
It looks
right?
so different. Now it's like rooftop vibes.
Correct. It's going out to a nice restaurant. It's going to play,
chill.
you know, some putt. Like we're doing different things, and we did some of that then. But it's just realizing the energy, the space, and also feeling like, okay, what type of emotions and vibes are you getting when you're out in that energy, right? And so I think that is also a big. And if you realize, man, we're encountering some of these challenges when we're out at this place or with these people.
Then we need to remove ourselves. Yes.
And sometimes it's just having that conversation and then and one thing I appreciate about us was we were willing to make the adjustments.
Yes.
When we saw that, like, all right, clearly it's not
us. We had a couple of incidents.
It's an environment thing.
We've outgrown it.
We've outgrown it. We gotta adjust out of this environment.
Correct. And just quickly going back to your therapy, wholeheartedly believe in individual therapy, but then if you are at a point where you need couples therapy, I always mention this, please watch couples therapy on Showtime. Dr. Orna, it is a game changer. I believe there's 4 seasons. I highly recommend that you take a peek at it. And so what she does is she has 4 couples for each season, and you follow them through 3 months of therapy, and it's intensive. I think it's weekly from what it sounded like. It's intensive therapy, and whoa, you see every single time. You see in the beginning where they're on opposite sides of the couch, they're not really talking to each other. It's always, let me tell you about him, let me tell you about her. Like, it's the blame game. Then they get into that middle ground of
Sitting a little closer on the couch?
sitting a little bit closer, but like each person's getting the wake-up call. Each person is hearing Dr. Orner say, like, hold on, let her speak, or hold on, did you hear what they just said? Like, you have, sometimes you need to stop and listen and make sure that you're hearing what the other person is saying. And then you get towards the end and it's the breakthroughs, it's the we're getting closer, and you know, not in all cases, which that happens for some couples, but I just highly recommend that you check that out if you don't want to take that couples therapy, or, you know, financially, right? Don't have the opportunity to go to couples therapy yourself. I think that's just a great tool to tap into, because they talk about everything. Every situation a couple can have.
It's such a great call out, because learning from others is like, there's real-time learning where you're experiencing it yourself, but there's also that learning of watching someone else go through it, seeing what some of these terms are called, seeing how that shows up in our own relationship, right?
Yes.
And then, because I love that example, and I even like watch us, we've been watching Super Nanny, and I've been watching so much about the
Y'all watch
dynamics
Super
between
Nanny.
husband, wife, parents,
gosh.
kids, mom, kid, like seeing all of these dynamics with Super Nanny. And again, sometimes you learn the most with extremes, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, man, this is really extreme on the cleaning it up or the adjustments. Super Nanny's really having to come in and roll up her sleeves, really get in here, give them a good
It's
talking
intensive.
to. So like,
Yeah.
you're like, oh my gosh, if this is the worst, and these are the frameworks that they utilize, these are the steps they put in place, look at how we can roll this out and implement it, because we know it's not that bad. Super Nanny ain't on our door, or like, you know, doctor so-and-so with, you know, marriage therapy is not at our door, right? Or we don't need that level of extreme therapy, but like we can learn that,
Yes.
we need to adjust our
Yes.
or we need to let the other person finish, or we need to maybe implement some more boundaries in some areas with family or friends or whatever.
Yeah. And quickly before we wrap up, just going back to what you talked about in therapy and what I mentioned earlier in this episode, if you notice that you and your spouse are having multiple disagreements, it's getting more intense, right? It's all of these, it's not moving in a positive direction. Sometimes you need to take that step back and look within, right? And have that self-reflection and say, okay, number one, let me take a look back at my childhood. When there was a conflict in the house, how was it resolved? What were the reactions that were happening? And then let me look at myself, am I having those same behaviors? And if you are, then you now at least know where the root cause is. That's one thing I always say to just, having my degree in psychology was just, what's the root of the problem? What's the root of what's happening? There's a cause and effect, right? A lot of things stem from our childhood. So how was conflict handled? How was resolution handled? Because sometimes there is no resolution. Let's keep it all the way real. Sometimes it's
under the rug.
Sweep. You see that rug? Let's take that up. Sweep. So how's everyone doing today? Oh my gosh, let's go get ice cream. It's like, hold on.
Sprinkles are for winners.
Sprinkles are for winners, and what just happened right now, it was just a blow up. Are we not gonna talk about it? And if your kids see that, that's what they're learning. That's what they're picking up from you. And so again, just do a little bit of that self-reflection, some journaling. If you need to self-prompt yourself, Pinterest is a great opportunity, even Instagram, right? Where you can type in self-improvement prompts, and it will give you just a couple of ways that you can journal about what you're going through, what you're feeling, and get deep into that root cause. And it's not easy, right? Like, to do that shadow work is not easy by any means. It's uncomfortable. It's going to be sad sometimes. It's going to drain you for sure. But at the end of the day, you're gonna get better. And the more that you work on it, and the more that you also work on it together, it will get better. But it's gonna take time, it takes effort, it takes patience, it takes compassion, right? It takes all of these things to be able to just push forward and some.
100%.
Yes. So hopefully this helped somebody today. If you know anybody that needs to hear this message, please send it to them. As always, please like and subscribe if you're watching us on YouTube. If you are watching us on Instagram, please follow us at CoupleyFit, CoupleyFit. Bye.